Patty, I don't know about you, but when we're traveling, we like to stop at places like Harvest Toast and Cracker Barrels, which means we're not plugging our RV into power.
Right.
But you kind of like to have some power.
I do.
And so
That'd be nice.
Yeah, we're going to talk about how we power our RV when we're not plugged into shore power in this episode of Travels with Delaney,
the podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back. My name's Patrick.
And I'm Patty.
And we are joined here on the old podcast couch.
By two fur babies.
The fur babies are here, Truman and Bess.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, they're our Cavalier King Charles Spaniels.
Yep.
So
Yep, they're the babies.
they are joining us here tonight.
And Truman's just whacked out.
He is.
He's like all ramped up. Boy, he needs to go running.
Yeah.
Get him out.
Well, today what I thought we would do is we're going to talk about how do you still have power in your RV,
right?
Even when you're not plugged into shore power.
Okay.
But before we do that, we have to do another exciting round of this or that.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I'll try.
Well, Patty, it is fall.
Yes.
And I'm on an apple kick again.
Yes, you are.
So, which would you rather have?
Yes.
A slice of apple pie
Okay.
or an apple dumpling?
Oh, both I enjoy. I think I'm going to go with the apple dumpling.
The apple dumpling for the win.
Your mom made the best apple dumplings that I could think of. And that's,
She did.
And that's when I think of fall, helps me think of her. And then, man, I miss those apple dumplings.
Yeah. Now, why do you like the apple dumpling more than the apple pie?
Well, I guess because your mom she always picked an apple that was crunchy and
The
a little
Lodi.
tart, a little sweet.
Wasn't it the Lodi?
I think so.
It was Lodi apples.
And sometimes an apple pie, I'm thinking it's like mushy apple. And I just like that crunch. I'm sure you could get an apple pie, but in my mind, I'm thinking of an apple pie.
There was something about that
yeah,
ball
just the
of
ball.
dough with the...
And it was just a gooey caramel, and it just was yummy. And I think she put a little oatmeal or something in there.
I don't think there was oatmeal.
Oh, I remembered a little maybe that was her apple crisp.
That was probably her apple crisp.
Ah, well, that was good too.
That would have oatmeal. No, the apple dumpling.
My desserts are mixing.
She always did hers. A lot of people would try to do a whole apple.
No, she didn't.
No, she always sliced it up or diced it up, and which
good.
I thought was better because we've had those apple dumplings where it's like a whole apple in there, and then trying to pull it apart.
It's kind of weird, but she always did it, so it was just, I don't know, it was good. Very, very good.
Now, I could bake apple dumplings.
You could.
I could in my RV. And
you could,
but I might need power. But then I got thinking, actually, I wouldn't need power because our oven is propane. But there are times where we do need power, and we're not plugged in. And typically, that's when we're staying at like a Cracker Barrel or a Harvest Host, where there's no place to plug your RV in. And so. Now, let's start by me asking you why. Why is it that you think that we need to power this RV? Because, and we should point this out before you answer.
Okay.
You have two electrical systems in your RV. You have the 12-volt, which is your batteries.
Okay.
And then you have your 110, which is your traditional plugs like you have
your
at
shore
home.
power,
Yeah, that's for your shore power.
Okay.
So the things that run off of your batteries all the time, whether you're plugged in or not, are things typically like the lights.
Yep.
So even when you're not plugged into shore power, your lights are going to come on. A lot of times they do your USB ports, your water pump so that you can still have water. Things like that will run off the 12-volt. But what you need that shore power for is going to, again, be like all of your electrical plugs.
Like I need a blow dryer.
Yeah, you
with
need
this short hair.
Right.
You see me in the morning. I kind of look like a form of Ed Sheeran sometimes. Or what is that band from the 80s?
Flock
of Seagulls.
Yeah.
It's not always pretty. So it needs a little work.
So you cannot run your blow dryer off of 12 volt per se.
Correct.
You need shore power.
I do.
Our TV, for instance.
Right.
It is not a 12 volt TV. We need shore power.
If you want to, see something or watch weather or something like that.
Right. And our air conditioner obviously is one of the big ones.
Yep.
But you can still run 110 items if you have an inverter and you have enough battery
to do that.
Power
it up.
Right. Now, we have been equipped for off-grid camping dating way back to really 17.
A long time.
When we had the Hummingbird.
Right.
If you remember, I had installed a small inverter and a plug, just a single plug, so you could blow dry your hair.
Yep.
And we just had lead acid batteries back then. They didn't last very long.
No.
But we weren't using it for much.
Yeah.
And then the Tab 400, I also installed an inverter.
Yep.
But that was our first foray into lithium. And I installed 2 100 amp hour Battleborns. And we used those for several years, both in the Tab and then in the Lance.
Right.
And then last fall, we took it to another level. And I had ordered three 200 amp hour Lifetime batteries. We did that. A lot of people said, well, why did you do that? Didn't you like your Battleborns? We loved our Battleborns.
Loved the Battleborns.
But they were very expensive.
Yeah.
And I was looking for a alternative price-wise.
Way to just not have to spend so much money.
Yeah.
But still have a good quality battery.
Right. And so we've been running off of 600 amp hours of Lifetime battery for the past year. And we also took our inverter game up a notch.
We did.
We used the Victron Multi-Plus 3000 that our whole entire RV is wired in to that Victron. So we can run the AC off of our batteries.
We can, yep.
And honestly, the Lifetime batteries have done really well. For those of you that don't remember, we paid about $1,800 for 600 amp hours. Right. They came with a 5-year warranty, which is half of the Battleborn warranty. Right. They have performed well.
They've done their job.
There was one issue I had with them, and that was on me, which was I ordered the ones that did not have a low temp shutoff or a built-in heater.
Yeah, so in the winter you were kind of nerved up about making sure they were kept warm and didn't get below a certain temperature. Yeah.
So we had to run the furnace all last winter, and I ran an electric heater as a backup.
You put it in the underbelly to keep it warm down there.
Not really sure how much money we spent on propane and electricity, but
it didn't care. We were saving those batteries from getting ruined. So
but honestly, the Lifetimes work great.
Right.
Like no issues, and but recently
you switched to something else.
Yeah, that's right. Because
why is that, honey?
Well, it's because
tell us.
Epoch batteries. I pronounce it Epoch. I think that's the way you pronounce it. I do hear some people on YouTube
call it Epic,
but EPOCH.
Yeah.
Reached out to me and said, Patrick, we saw where you are worried about the winter temps, and we think we have a battery that is superior to what you're using. It's going to provide you protection not only on the high end for heat, but it will provide you protection on the low end. And we'd love for you to try out our batteries. And now, I've had other battery companies reach out to me over the past year, and I've just kind of blown them all off. I just wasn't interested. But the thing is, Epoch, when I saw that, and it came from, I think their chief operating officer, if I remember right.
Yeah, you told me that.
High up. This is a company I'm aware of because I had several people in our YouTube video say, hey, why'd you go with Lifetime? Why'd you go with Epoch? And at the time I said, well, Lifetime, they were a very low-cost option. And that's what a lot of people wanted, was for me to try out a really low-cost option. But Jonathan, our friend from Tree Talker the Traveler, he recently installed a couple Epoch batteries in his brand new Brinkley.
Yep.
And he was making me so jealous because he started talking about
really?
Yeah. And the quality of them. And then when I saw his batteries this summer when he was here, I was like, dang, those are nice batteries. And so when Epoch reached out, and I just said, look, I would love to, I think you have some amazing batteries based upon everything I've heard. I would love to try it. But the only problem is we have 600 amp hours. And he said, no problem. I will send you 2 300 amp hour, they're brand new 300 amp hour batteries for you to put in your RV, use them, abuse them, put them to the test. And everybody knows, even when a company reaches out and offers me something like that, I always tell them I'm going to give an honest review.
Right.
So this past Friday, I took out the Lifetime, and I installed these 2 300 amp hours. So we still have 600 amp hours. We didn't increase our battery bank size. No. And the main reason one of the main reasons was that low
for the winter.
Yeah. So these batteries have a built-in heater. If it needs to, it can warm itself up, so you can still charge in the winter. And if it gets dangerously cold, they will shut off. They will just not accept a charge to protect our batteries.
Nice.
But that's not all.
What all, honey?
Tell
us.
What all?
Tell us.
How about an 11-year warranty?
Whoa, really?
Yes.
That's crazy.
That is 1 year longer than what Battleborn offers. And
wow. I'm impressed.
Yeah. So I was watching this video. You know Will Prowse.
Okay.
You've seen me watch
Yes,
Will,
I
the
have.
young guy that does a lot of solar. This guy knows his stuff.
He does.
He actually did a side-by-side comparison of the 200 amp hour Lithium that we have and the 300, I think it was the 300 Epoch that we have, or Epoch.
Right.
However you want to pronounce it. And here's what he said. And this was before I accepted the deal. I wanted to. I really trust Will Prowse.
Yeah, you were doing your research.
And Will said, "Look, the Lithium is a heck of a battery for the price that they charge. But in the one he was reviewing, which was the one we had, he said, look, it doesn't have low temp shutoff. And his point is that is a very inexpensive feature. It should be on all batteries. Now, I do want to clarify, Lithium does sell batteries that have that low temp shutoff. You do pay a premium, though, a pretty significant premium. That's why I didn't buy them. But he said basically the Epoch battery is just far superior in build quality, construction, and so that's when I said, you know what, I want to give these a try. And, you know, again, as I always say with batteries, until we've had them for a significant period of time.
You don't know, really.
All I can do, and we have a video coming out where I unbox them and I install them and I talk a little bit about the specs. But now the real test will come over the next several months. And unfortunately, we are going into winter again. It seems like I always change out batteries in the fall.
You do.
So, you know, we're going to put them to the test. I've got a weekend coming up where we're going to basically unplug the cable, and we're going to try to go all weekend on our 600 amp hours, which I'm sure we will. It's cool enough out. We're not going to be running a lot of AC.
Right. It's cooling down.
But then, you know, we'll use them at Christmas on the way to Florida and back because we always do Cracker Barrels.
We do.
And then, you know, maybe it's spring break. Who knows?
Who knows?
But it will take time to fully review them. But I have to tell you, these Epoch batteries, they're just stout. Stout. Like, they're beefy.
Well, they're heavy. Oh, my gosh.
They are, because, so I think it comes out to about 81 pounds per battery.
Well, the boxes that were on our patio, and I'm just trying to slide them a little bit. I couldn't move them. They were stacked, you know, on top of each other.
Right.
And I'm like, no way can I move that anywhere. I'm doomed.
Well, yeah. So, and I know a lot of people are going to say, 81 pounds, that's ridiculous. But remember, they're 300 amp hours in a single battery.
And you had 3 large batteries before.
Right.
Now you only have 2.
Yeah, and I don't remember.
How much they were.
They basically take up about the same footprint.
In the trailer,
In the trailer. I want to say that our Battleborns were around 30 pounds.
Okay.
So 3 100 amp hour Battleborns would be about 90 pounds. So actually these would be a little less. So yeah, they are heavy. But one of the features that I really like, there's a couple things on these Epochs. There's so much I love about them already. But one, they have their own app and you Bluetooth the battery.
That's pretty cool.
So I have never, we Bluetooth to our Victron equipment that would tell us like the voltage and the, you know, the percentage left. But that was like an aggregate of the total of
fancy.
I know. I'm trying to pull out some fancy words for you.
Sheesh.
She's always impressed because she's an English teacher.
Yeah, but I only teach 5th grade.
Well, that's true. So maybe I didn't have to use the word aggregate. I just say a combined voltage for the 2 batteries.
There you go.
There we go.
You're pretty fancy today. Keep going.
Ooh la la.
Ooh la la.
But anyway, so whenever I got the reading from the Victron, they just say we're currently at 13.2. But we'd had, like with the Lithiums, we had 3 of them hooked up together. So we didn't really know what each individual battery was. So with the Epoch batteries, you actually download their app, and then it just Bluetooths to the app. I can look at both batteries individually and see what is happening with both batteries.
That's pretty cool.
And it'll tell me how much amp hours are left.
Right.
And then I can also go into each battery and see what each cell in that battery. Because I don't know if you know this, but on lithium batteries, there's individual cell packs in there that are combined together to create the complete battery. So we can actually see, like, are all the cells at about the same level. The other thing is the batteries that he sent me also have the built-in what they call Victron comms.
Ooh.
So we can actually plug our batteries directly into our Victron Servo, which is like the monitoring system.
Yeah.
And the batteries and the Victron equipment will communicate with each other. So now, as opposed to the batteries just being like an add-on to our Victron, now they're going to work together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
Yeah, these batteries offer a lot.
They sound very beefy.
They are beefy. I mean, they're just well built. And if I remember right, Will Prowse had to cut open the Lifetime battery because it's like a sealed case.
Yeah.
And I believe these Epoch batteries, he was able to actually take them apart without cutting into them. Like they can be serviced. And I highly recommend watching that video, going out, finding, it's a recent video where he does Lifetime versus Epoch. And it'll give you, because again, I think both are great, but for us, the fact that I will not have to heat this RV all winter.
And worry about in the winter.
And be worrying at night when we have those really cold nights.
Because there were times last winter you were like, oh my gosh, because we have a monitor that tells us the temp in the trailer too. And you were like, okay, it is really cold in the trailer. What's going on? What happened?
And I'd run out.
And you would run out to check. And you're like, okay, it's okay. Or I need to make sure this is not bad, or this isn't doing this or that. You're just constantly just worried because we didn't want to ruin anything.
Right.
But yeah, you won't have to have that worry now.
No.
Cool.
And so now, price-wise, I'm sure everybody's saying, okay, but how much is this going to cost?
Well,
so these batteries, I believe, run $14.99 a piece. So, So in comparison, had I went with, let's say, 6 100 amp hour Battleborns, those run about $1,000 a piece. So you're looking at about $6,000.
Okay.
The Lifetimes that I got on a super special deal. Right. But remember, they had no low temp shut off, no Bluetooth capabilities, none of that.
None of that.
Those came in just under $1,900. It was $1,800 and change.
For all of them.
For 600 amp hours. These would come in at about $3,000.
Okay.
So the Epoch batteries are somewhere price-wise, they're about half a Battleborn.
Yep.
And they're, maybe $1,000 to $1,200 more than the Lifetime. But you're getting a lot more for your money.
I think so.
Yeah. So for those of, and here's the thing, they're not going to be for everyone.
No.
But
it just
for somebody,
depends what you need. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you're never going to go offshore power,
then you wouldn't need them.
You wouldn't need lithium per se. And even if you were saying, let's going offshore power, but all you're doing is a one-night stop at Cracker Barrel or one night.
Still probably don't need it.
Probably you could do one 300 amp hour. That would give you so much power.
Sure.
To do. So if you're wondering, like, what could I do with 300 amp hours? When we had our 2 100 amp hours of the Battleborns, I used to do things like make my coffee in the morning.
Yes, you did.
Patty would blow dry her hair.
Right.
You would plug in the Wuzoo fan and run it all night long. And that we would still have plenty of power the next day.
Yeah, we'd be just fine, yeah.
And we'd watch TV at night.
Yep.
And sometimes we'd even microwave our dinner.
Right.
And so 200 amp hours, if you're just doing that for a night, that's going to be probably more than enough, maybe if you have a CPAP machine. So if you do one Epoch 300 amp hour battery, you're going to have more power than you need. And I will say, if you go to the Epoch website, they make these batteries in all different configurations.
Right.
Like Jonathan's battery, I believe, is like a 460 amp hour battery, and he's got like 2 of those. So he's running 920 amp hours because he's not only going to run one AC. I think he has. Does he have 3?
I think he has 3.
3 ACs on his RV?
Yeah. I think there's one in the kids' bedroom and one in the middle and one in the front because his trailer's really big.
Yeah, he has a big Brinkley.
It's huge. Yeah. But, yeah, I think he's got 3.
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of it just goes back to how, this is why and we won't even get into the whole solar discussion.
No.
Because
that's different.
Because if you're just doing a one-night harvest host.
Right.
Then and then you're going to the RV park the next day. You just plug in, and it's going to charge your batteries back up.
Right.
But if you're going to do multiple nights, then we would want to look at solar. And a good example, we have, I think, 320 watts currently.
I feel like you should go,
Well, I would, but that's not enough power.
It's not enough.
So we need to add another panel.
Okay.
Because with 600 amp hours, at 320 on our former Alliance, we had a 500 watt panel.
Okay.
And that did a pretty good job for us. So this time we're going to double it. Myron's going to get us another panel.
You two are just having lots of fun with this stuff, aren't you?
So we're going to probably end up
you
around
and Myron.
640 of solar.
He's been wanting to do that.
Yeah, we just need to get it done. There hasn't been a real rush.
No.
So, but again, I think, do you need it? But I just wanted to talk a little bit about why do you need it, and maybe you don't need.
Right.
There are options, but I think if you ever are planning on spending the night out at a Cracker Barrel, a Harvest House, or whatever, I like
for multiple days.
Yeah, because here's the great thing about lithium versus lead acid. When a lead acid battery says 100 amp hours, you really only get 50.
Yeah.
Because you should not run a lead acid battery below 50% because it can shorten the life. When you get 100 amp hour of lithium, it's a full 100 amp hours, and it has a built-in what it's called a BMS, battery management system.
Okay.
So it will, when you get really low, it'll shut off so that it doesn't damage your batteries.
Okay.
Remember lead acid? I was always having to check the water levels.
Yes.
Yeah, there's nothing to check on a lithium battery.
Right.
They're maintenance free.
Yeah, they're very nice in that respect.
Yeah, so even if you were like, I don't think I'm going to be doing much off grid, you still might want to consider like 100 amp hour, because if you're running 100 amp hour lead acid, you really have about 50 amp hours.
Right.
You go to 100 amp hour lithium, you're going to get a full 100 amp hours, and it's going to be maintenance free. And if you get one of these Epochs, regardless of the size, I think they probably all have in the built-in protections, both because you do have to worry not only on the low side, but you also have to worry on the high side if the battery gets too hot.
Sure.
But this has that built-in protection to where it's going to shut down.
Yeah.
And honestly, I haven't even begun to scratch the surface on all the features of these batteries.
Well, you just got them.
I just got them.
You need to play with
installed. And I will tell you, and I think you knew this. You weren't here, but I forget what day it was.
I think it was Friday, wasn't it?
Well, I think it was Friday. No, it doesn't matter.
Anyway.
But I one day I went out and I shut the power off at the pedestal. I ran this whole RV all day.
Right.
I think I shut it off at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and I never turned it back on until after 9 o'clock at night, and the AC was kicking on and off all day long.
Nice.
And I think when I finally turned the power back on, we were at 35%. But again, remember, we had 2 ACs that were periodically that day. It wasn't a super hot day.
No, but it was warm.
And we had I had it, the thermostat set to where it would kick on if it got too warm in here.
Auto, yeah.
Not a single problem. And one of the things I'm trying to do is I've heard that it's good when you first get new batteries is to go ahead and drain them down. Yep, work them out. And so we're going to probably do that again here soon. In fact, I'm going to film a whole video of us actually using it. So anyway,
yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about my new toy.
Your new toy.
I love them. I absolutely love them. I just think they're absolutely gorgeous batteries. They're solid, built like a rock, and I love the technology on them. And I can't thank Epoch batteries enough for trusting me to give these things a go.
That's very nice.
And I hopefully, because like I said, I did have people last fall reaching out saying, oh, man, I wish you would have went with Epoch because those are the ones I'm looking at, and I'd love to have your thoughts on it.
Sure.
Well, hopefully I'm not too late for those of you that said that, but we're going to give them a try. Like I said, there's going to be an unbox install video coming out. There's going to be a video where we try to go all weekend to show you what happens with the battery so I can kind of demonstrate the app and that type of thing. And then we'll just follow the progress over the next year. I'm going to probably end up putting out multiple videos about them just so people can actually see how they're performing.
Sure.
But main thing I want is just nobody to say like, oh, I bought Lifetime and now he ditched Lifetime. No, again, I still think the Lifetime for the price point are decent batteries. Again, a 5-year warranty is not bad. But an 11-year warranty, I'll date a 5-year warranty. I'll marry an 11-year warranty.
Listen to you.
Well, here's the thing. You think about 11 years. I am 56 years old.
Yes.
These batteries are guaranteed till I am 67 years old, which is a scary thought.
Yes.
67.
I know.
Ooh.
I know.
Oof.
Oof. That's right.
So I'm pretty sure I won't, be changing out batteries anytime soon.
Probably
with an
not.
11-year warranty.
Yeah.
So anyway, and this way you get to blow dry your hair.
I can be
when
comfortable.
we wake up at a Cracker Barrel.
And I won't have crazy hair.
You can watch TV at night.
I can chill out. Yeah.
You can make dinner in the microwave.
I could.
Yeah, you could. Doesn't mean you will, right?
Hey, if I'm at Cracker Barrel, why would I make dinner in the microwave?
That's a good point. But
I'm going to go in and get some of the biscuits.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, wouldn't it be nice if, like at Christmas, when we stop in southern Georgia and the trailer's a little warm, to know we have enough power on board
we could
that we can flip on the ACs for an hour, cool it off, and then, and still have plenty of power to blow dry your hair the next morning.
That's great.
And maybe I'll get to make a cup of coffee.
There you go. So. Perfect.
All right. Well, hopefully this is helpful for you to at least get you thinking about, do you even need lithium, and what do we use our batteries for? Understand, if you have your batteries and you want to run things in your trailer, you will need an inverter. The battery alone, it will run your 12-volt system on board, i.e. your lights, your max air fans. If you have a 12-volt TV in your RV like we did in the Lance, it'll run that. But if you want to do the things I'm talking about, the microwaves, the hair dryers, the coffee makers, you would need an inverter, because what that inverter does is it's going to convert that 12-volt battery power into 110 power so that you can do that. So I just want everybody to be clear. Batteries alone do not give you outlets that work in your RV. You do need that inverter.
Right.
And that could be a whole separate podcast.
That could.
Maybe we get Myron on to talk about inverters.
Yeah, he's kind of shy.
He is, but
he's a shy boy.
He might be okay on podcasts.
He might.
Yeah, maybe we'll work on that. I'll work on getting
Myron.
He
might need a tranquilizer.
Maybe.
Something to mellow him out.
Mellow him out. Maybe,
He gets nervous. Poor boy.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend a little bit of time with us. And a huge shout out to Epoch batteries again.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
for sending those to us.
Absolutely.
And also a huge shout out to Mr. Jim Kuzman.
He had to listen to another Babylon
He
session.
did. And for those of you who made it through last week's episode, that was not Jim's fault for the technical issues. That was all on me. I accidentally,
when
I went to save the podcast after we were done recording, somehow I deleted Patty's audio track.
Sacre bleu.
So Jim had me talking and nobody else. And we had to use the audio. I had told Jim, just scrap it.
He's
forget.
like, no, it's too good.
And he took the audio and he said he felt like the content of that last overrode the fact that we had really bad audio.
We were on fire.
But I think here's two things. Number one, it shows what good audio we have.
Yes.
Because
and it shows how good Jim is.
And it shows how good. Because honestly, if you thought the audio was bad last week, trust me, it was not nearly as bad as the raw version that I sent to Jim. He really cleaned that thing up to get it to where it was at least somewhat audible.
Yes.
So thank you, Jim, for all you do for us. I'll try not to delete Patty this week.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Until next time, we'll see you.
On down the road.
Bye.
Travels with the lady. We'll see you on down the road.